And then awesome. All right. Well, good morning. Nice to see all of you here. And a special I'm sorry. My God. A special thanks the fact that you're like joining on your day off and sort of dedicated to Davines. You've all done so well with Davines. It's actually really, really impressive. I always love to see sort of like a group that's as dedicated as you are. And with the next year coming up, we'll make sure that we get to prioritize education and things that you need as far as support. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with our Naturaltech tailoring. So what the Naturaltech tailoring is it looks like 4 bases. So they're going to look like this. And you're going to have 6 boosters, which will look like this. So what I find the ideal scenario is for us to look at these QR codes, which are actually a consultation tool. So for me, what I found so fascinating about this, and I've repeated this portion a few times, is that because I do a lot of business workshops, the conversation comes up where people say, you know, statistically, salons and stylists don't do a proper consultation. And then, you know, my argument is, well, then we all end up with hair that people like. So somehow we're having a consultation, but there's a disconnect in terms of like what someone thinks a consultation is and maybe what we're giving. Because I think how we're working is like, you know, if I was your client, you're like touching and you're feeling my hair and you're already determining what my hair will do and what my hair won't do. But maybe we're not always talking every step through or asking all the questions. So this QR code gives us the chance to do that. So I'm going to walk you through the QR code. If by chance you have your phone available, you're welcome to try to access the QR code. I'll hold it as still as possible and see if you can kind of join on with me so that you get to experience it. So I'll just hold it up for another second. It's funny when you have to be still, it's hard to be still. I'm like, I only had 2 coffees this morning, I promise. Okay, so that's the QR code. So you're going to be taking your phone. You're going to get to the QR code. It says that it doesn't recognize me with my glasses on, no problem. So what happens is we have a screen, and I do have a ring light, so it'll kind of go in there too, but yeah. So you have a screen that's going to look like this, and we are now going to start. So when we start, it's going to talk about choosing one scalp concern. When we talk about choosing a scalp concern, what I found in my personal experience is that when I say, you know, oh, do you have any scalp or hair issues? People automatically are going to tell you no. They're like, nope, I have no scalp or skin issues at all. So what I usually will do is I'll have this screen open and I'll say, you know, have you ever noticed in the seasons change that you have to wash your hair more often? Or do you feel like you're a little dry or itchy? Do you feel like you're shedding, like where you'll notice like clumps of hair? The minute I start to like explain it in a situational way, as opposed to like something that sounds serious and dangerous, people automatically usually will have one. So feel free in your mind to think if any of those potentially could be you. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go and do fragile hair loss for a reason. For one, it is legit for me, but it also is a good one for us in terms of experiment. So I'm now going to press this arrow, which takes us to the next one. Oops, sorry. Okay, so it already did. And now it's saying, I have to read it backwards, but I know it. What is the natural texture of your hair? So in this case, I'm going to say for my hair, it's straight or wavy, but it can be helpful to help your clients and guests know. So I'm going to today put straight because it's fairly straight. And then we're going to go back to our arrow. And now it's going to talk about the thickness. So the thickness of the hair is the actual strand, as if we were to lay it on, you know, a white piece of paper, a tile, a counter. It's not how thick your ponytail is. So my hair is fine and my ponytail will be fine, but sometimes you'll find people with fine hair and they'll have the thickest ponytail. So I'm going to click fine for mine. And then I'm going to go back through and I'm going to pick that arrow. The next portion is your hair color treated? So when we get to the hair color treated, for many people, when they've said, let's say they grow out their sparklies, but they still have color on the ends, we want to talk about the hair, any hair that's colored. So even if their goal is to grow it out, it still is considered colored because we want to treat that portion. So yes, definitely my hair is colored. It was colored yesterday. Probably got a bit of staining going on here, but yes, it is color treated. So now this is what your current color is, not the color you were born with. So if you are my color and you're copper, you're red. If you are naturally a light brown and you're blonde, you're blonde. So it's what it currently is. So I am currently black for my hair color. And now, because I did the hair loss, what I love about this is it gives you two options. It says, is this seasonal or is this something that happens for a long time? So this is something that's been going on a long time. So I'll put my phone down for a second. So you know how in Naturaltech, you have a seasonal hair loss and you have a super active. The super active has to do with the hormones, has the DHT blocker in it. So that's why seasonal, which is what I have, that's going to be just like stress. It's just going to be sort of like a shedding process. It's just going to be maybe because I travel, lots of little reasons that will happen in our lives that will create us to kind of like go through a bit of a shedding phase. For us, most of the time, it's going to be, in my case, I'm going to say it's seasonal. But if this has been happening for over a year, let's say, or specifically in men, then they're going to be the constant over time. So that's where I put my seasonal, and I will click. And now it's going to talk about what is my primary concern. So the primary concern will correlate with the boosters, or sorry, with the bases. So we have one base that's going to be, number one would be volume. Number two is going to be moisture. Number three is going to be shine. Number four is going to be strength. So when you read these, the strength will say serum for damaged hair. The three, the shine, is going to be colored hair lacking shine. Two will say dry hair, so it's moisture. And one will say fine hair looking for volume. So these will all correlate. So you'll get to pick a second option, but your first option is kind of like the biggest issue of all four, if you could just pick one. So in my case, I'm going to say body and volume, and then I'm going to click the next arrow. So the next arrow is going to now talk about our boosters. So you've got base and booster, which is great because it gives you the chance to have two different options. So you're going to have a volume booster. You're going to have a moisture booster. Shine. So you can see that these are matching up again, which gives you the option of having more than one or doubling up. Fourth is going to be strength. These last two are new. So controlling will be 5, which would be like a love smoothing, like thinking about like something where the texture just needs a little more controlling, more softening. And the brightening, I do want to show you this one. I have to be careful on my computer with this, but can you see the color of it? It's really, 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 really dark. So it has the Jaguar blue. I'm going to show you a controlling one just so that you see the difference in the color. See how this one's clear? So all the other ones are clear, but the brightening is going to have that Jaguar blue, that intense blue. So it is incredible for like brightening up blonde hair. So this again, we can let the consumer dictate and guide what they think. But at the same time, I think it's kind of nice if we go through and help them with what we think should be good. So in this case, I could double up volume, but if I'm already going to get a volume base, I might as well pick something different. So why don't I go with the fact that I'd like to have a little extra shine? So I'm going to put shine. If you have someone with blonde hair, I would definitely encourage brighter. Extensions, it's incredible on for brightening. I've even seen situations where someone colored their hair with a high lift and it was sort of a little bit on that, like, you know, kind of high lift on dark hair sometimes doesn't always work as nicely. And it didn't obviously make it blonde, but it definitely neutralized some of that unwanted, like brassy feeling. So after you've done that, then you're going to get your prescription. So your first prescription has one base and one booster. So I'm going to pause there. What I recommend is take a screenshot of it, because sometimes at this point we end up losing where we were and we're like, what happened? So we have these amazing applicator bottles. And when you bring this in, I can get you more applicator bottles. So don't worry about that. But it has a baseline and a booster line. So literally, you will have a pump on this. I just don't for travel reasons. So let's pretend I'm pumping and it hits the baseline. Then I'm going to take my applicator. I'm going to empty it. And I'm going to squeeze it in until I hit my booster line. Okay. So basically, if you were to do it, sort of without this, you can weigh it. You can also do 3 full pumps and 3 full pipettes. If you're doing it 3 and 3, then of course that gives you the chance if you want to double up the mixture, because the pump is going to give you more than squeezing completely out. But in my opinion, I would really just stick with what this says, because it's the most simple and it keeps it easy for us. So after that, we're going to shake this. Now at the sink, you would shampoo the hair, release the little applicator part. I'm at the sink and I'm going to squirt this all through after I've shampooed and rinsed. I'm going to distribute through, massage through, pull through to the ends of the hair, imagining there's like lots more hair than mine. So we're pulling through the ends of the hair, let's say 30 seconds. It could be anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds, distribute through. It is an instant hair infusion. So it's instant. Then what we're going to do is we're going to rinse that out. And I'm going to recommend following up with a conditioner just for the sake of having more of the service experience. It's not that it is absolutely necessary. It's just part of what I think is that simple service experience. So that's what we would call your instant herbal infusion. So it's basically your instant treatment. I would charge anywhere from around $25 to $30 approximately. Every region, every salon is different, but that's kind of what I've been recommending. So that's going to be base, booster, prescription, done. Now, they asked a lot more questions that we didn't get through. So now if we want, we can go through and we can find out what the full, it's asking me to go back. Okay. So I think because of how I worked it, it went, but I'm just going to finish this up really quickly. I did time this. Someone was like, oh my gosh, how much time is this going to take when you're needing to do this behind the chair? And when we timed it, literally timing, it wasn't even 2 minutes, like going through it and even having a conversation. I think it was like maybe 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So when you think about 2 minutes and 20 seconds in a conversation to have a detailed consultation, no problem. My recommendation is when your clients come in, they get excited because they want to talk about, the wedding or the surprise birthday party or something about their child, just say like, hey, I can't wait to talk about, or I've been thinking about you and that wedding, and I can't wait to see photos. Let's just dive deep into this consultation first so that we're really treating your hair and your scalp. And then I can't wait to hear more about it. Like, it's no problem to kind of like just put a pause on that. So click here to discover the full routine. So now I'm going to click. When I click, it gives me a detailed routine, which involves Naturaltech. So the benefit of this is that you're going to have a scalp and a hair treatment all mixed together, which is going to be the best, because where does our hair grow from? Our scalp. And I'd show you if my plant was looking better, but I think my cactuses are looking pretty good behind me. But it's like, oh, here, actually, I'll show you these ones. These ones are all looking happy. Okay, so those plants, they're all looking happy. And that's because I have been treating the soil properly to grow good plants. But we know if we're unhealthy inside or we're not healthy with our scalp, we are not going to have the best hair. So this is where the Naturaltech with the tailoring comes in. So the first step is going to tell you elevating massage oil. So I did bring some here. So this is the elevating massage oil. And so again, if you were to charge, I would add an additional $15. So I'm going to empty this because I don't want to drip this all over me. But we would start off at the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then I'm going to massage in. It actually feels good because I did get a little bit on there. So, and then after that, I would go and I would take more in my hands, rub in. And then because I'm at the sink, I would go all through this hairline and then going down into the neck. So really just working this down nicely into the neck, right? So that's going to create that whole like really relaxing massage experience. So if you're going this route, this is no longer the express treatment. This is more of the deluxe treatment. So adding $15 more, you're looking at it as about 40 or 45, depending on what you've charged. And this should take at least 15 minutes because you're charging that much more money. So after that massage, so that massage oil is done on dry hair at the sink. Rinse the hair, wet the hair. And now it's going to tell me to do the energizing shampoo, and it's going to tell me to do the clay. So the clay is a treatment that is solely for in salon. So the clay looks like this in the elevating. I'm going to be super careful with my computer. Let's see. That's the best way to, there we go. Okay, so you can see the clay. It's like a really light powder. That's why we do not usually recommend someone taking it home, because you can imagine you're going to open that up in the shower, the shower's going, it's like all gone and done. So 1 scoop. So it's basically, I do 5 pumps of shampoo to 1 scoop of the clay, mix it in a beautiful, I do have it here. I'll just take that out in a beautiful bowl with a really nice Davines brush, which again, I'm happy to get those for you to create the experience. So let's imagine that this is the brush, and we're going to just brush it all along the hairline. The reason that we want to really do a strong focus on the hairline is because that's where a lot of times our foundations, all of the different products that we were, like using on our skin, they're kind of accumulating right there. So that's going to be something, but also from a sensory experience, they'll really feel it. So the hair is wet. You put the clay with the energizing shampoo in this case, massage it in, and shampoo. You can always add more water. This clay can be added to any one of the Naturaltech shampoos. It is most effective when it is used with the ones that don't have matching conditioners. It's just because the shampoos that don't have matching conditioners are more scalp focused. So, for example, it would be amazing with detoxifying. It would be amazing with rebalancing. It would be amazing with calming and with energizing. So that's what you're going to see. You're going to apply 5 pumps of shampoo, 1 scoop of this. There comes with a nice scooper. And that's what you're going to do when you see the program here. So after that, we're going to rinse. And when we scroll up, it's going to show you the base and the booster. So this is going to go back to, in my case, I had volume booster, moisture base, volume base, moisture booster, put them in together, shake it, apply it on clean hair now, distribute through as we mentioned, 10 to 30 seconds, rinse, and then now it's going to tell me to go with the well-being. So well-being conditioner is how I'm finishing. And love this part because we often have we just have like a more challenging time to remember the leave-ons for our scalp. So in this case, it's telling me that I should use the energizing super active, as well as when you press the arrow, the thickening tonic. So if you can imagine, you've done this treatment in the salon, 15 minutes, please try it on yourself. Your scalp's going to feel amazing. Your hair is going to feel amazing. But let's say that I tell you, okay, pretend these are the shampoos that I got the recommendation. So it's going to say, this is your shampoo. Pretend this is the conditioner. Pretend this is your leave-on. These are the 3 that are recommended based on that prescription. It would be so much easier to be able to take these home as your take-home products than sometimes when we're just grabbing from the shelf and without that kind of conversation or without that detailed consultation, the consumer can feel a little lost as to like what this whole story is about or why do they need these products. But instead, they've dictated this. They've said, this is what I need based on what I'm experiencing. And collectively, you work together as a team and to collaborate and come up with the end goal. So that's going to be kind of how it works. So when you go through the consultation tool, truthfully, I would just say, like, even if you're like quarterly, every quarter, we're going to go through consultation tool just to check to see how your scalp and your hair is doing. Go through it. First treatment is going to be your $25 to $30, which is your instant treatment, the tailoring base and booster only in salon. More in-depth deluxe treatment will be more of the scalp with the tailoring, 15 minutes. And again, aspects of it are not for take home. So then you have a take-home program to maintain and support. So that's going to be kind of your whole program wrapped up together. So at the same time, I would love to find a little brochure to be able to share with you. So one of the things that we know with Davines that makes us incredibly unique is the fact that you can see here, it's showing you all of the various natural ingredients that are being used in the tailoring line. So there's a very specific story to this. Oops, I've got bright sunshine, which is beautiful. So how this basically works is the fact that Davines has decided to focus on regenerative organic farming. That type of farming is taking our traditional methods that used to be used years and years ago, and they're being implemented to determine the fact that we want to protect the soil because the soil functions very similar to how our liver and our kidneys function in our body. So if our liver and our kidneys are functioning perfectly, our body's functioning well as well. And so the same for the soil. Unfortunately, right now, it's not functioning very well in the world. And if we switched all of our farming practices to regenerative organic farming practices in the United States alone, climate change would be reversed in 1 year. So what Davines says is that these are activist ingredients. So not only active, but activist ingredients, because the story behind it is to make sure that people know that the quality ingredients all came from Davines's open air lavatory, which means they plucked all of the unique species. They tested them to determine that they would be able to perform in an active way. They outsourced the farms and they allow education about this type of farming practice that then is now brought back to the salon and something that we can share with those that are interested. So you'll get a lot of material in there. And if you ever did want, we have some beautiful, I know some salons are not as keen on like posters, but we have some beautiful posters that show like the Davines. I don't know that this one's going to show it. It's not, but there's ones that show like the Davines, like the open air laboratory. There's ones that have images of those unique ingredients. So it's not, hair focused. It's a little bit more diving deeper into the conversation of Davines. And they're about like little posters that are like this size that are kind of they're cardboard, but they look very pretty. So I can obviously send them to you. If they work for you to put in a bathroom or somewhere or on your display, great. But totally up to you. So questions that you may have. And again, thank you for your understanding on my voice. I was off last week on a holiday and I don't think I'm sick. I'm pretty sure I'm not, but I think just sometimes air conditioning and travel can do that. So sorry about my squeaky coffee voice. Yeah, So questions that you have. I'll go ahead and stop the recording so that we have this and then we can continue to ask questions. So thank you again so much for going through with this with me, and then we'll stop it and we'll continue on with any other questions and thoughts. So thank you.